So we have an interesting panel here. I would like to open up this panel with a simple question that what is it that you expect from the government in terms of policy changes that you think will make it possible for this dream of housing for all to be achieved? And we'll start with Mr. Mantri on this, because he's the executor implementer here. Mr. Mantri.
Thank you. We have housing buying culture in India. So as per this estimate, about 9 crore housing shortage what we could come. It's a really very large number, and we have not constructed 9 crore number of the houses in last 30-40 years. Now, 3-4 simple things I would like to suggest. One, the first red tapeism, whatever is there, whether environment clearance is there, whether building plan approval is there, I think delegate simply to the architects. I think we are strongly suggesting and recommending that this has to be delegated, one.
You're saying it's kind of a self-certification
yes,
of sorts?
Because like a charter accountant submit the balance sheet, similar way we want architects to approve the building plan. There are various other agendas also, because if the file moves table to table, the transaction cost or out-of-pocket expenses, anything ranging between 100 to 1,000 rupees become, ultimately it is being passed on to the consumer. So that's the first agenda. All the permissions can be given by the architect itself. Secondly, the FSI restriction in many areas, 1.33, 2 or 1 is there, that has to go, because we have a huge land shortage.
Let's take this point of FSI restriction. And there's a school of thought which says that the Chandigarh plan or the Chandigarh model has failed because it created an urban sprawl of its own. So why should there be a vertical limit at all? Why should there be an FSI limit on land per se?
The same thing.
Is it because of the fact that it gives the lever to the government or the politician to manage the real estate lobby in a much more conducive manner, or is there more to it? Mr. Balwinder, I would like you to weigh on this.
Once this land pooling policy comes, then there will be paradigm shift in the development. There will be change in direction how development has taken place in Delhi. In land pooling area, we are going to give 400 FAR, number one. There is a provision for tradable FAR, and all sanctions approvals would be accorded online. So with this land pooling policy, the other issue of housing for all would be taken care of. As per the master plan, there is a need of 24 lakh, 2.4 million dwelling units in Delhi in next 2021, as per the 2021 projections. So in this land pooling policy, we visualize that with 1,000 hectare, 50,000 dwelling units will come. And we are giving 15% additional FAR for EWS houses. So in a long term, say in 10 to 15 years time, we will be seeing at least 10 lakhs dwelling units in the area which has been demarcated as land pooling area. The total area is around 20 to 24,000 hectare. Another thing which we are going to do, and we are going to announce shortly, the policy of redevelopment. Though there is a policy in the master plan as on date, but this redevelopment policy is not attractive enough that so far not many have come forward for redevelopment. So another policy which we are going to announce is this TOD policy. Many of you must have heard transit-oriented development. This policy would be applicable in the influence zone of a metro corridor. Means 500 meters on each side of metro corridor. And
so, I mean, you're saying that on the metro corridor, you will have a higher FSI versus the rest of the city?
Yeah. Higher FAR, mixed land use would be there, and altogether new norms, new development code would be applicable.
And this will be applicable for existing projects also who could go in for a redevelopment plan.
Yeah, people will come forward, and if people come together and offer us, say, 3,000 square meter, then in that area this policy can be applicable. For green projects, it is 2.1 hectare basically.
So, I mean, taking from what Mr. Balwinder was saying, Ashi, I wanted to bring you in. DDA is obviously kind of looking at making it possible for affordable housing. And when we talk about affordable housing, I mean, the basic point is the cost. And I believe that your FSG had done a research on it and found out that it is possible for a small builder developer to construct and sell a house at 10 lakh or less than 10 lakh. Now, considering the cost of land in a place like Delhi, is that possible? And if it is so, does it also need any massaging of the policy framework? Yeah.
Housing for all is important, and I use the word for all, and we often conflate it. There are different parts of our income population. There is the very poor, 10,000 rupees and below monthly income, or the EWS, where you need subsidy. They cannot afford it. But there's a very interesting group between 10,000 and 25,000 rupees a month, low income, your rickshaw wala, your hath gadi wala, who can actually afford to buy housing on their own, and I'll come back to that, without subsidies. I'm emphasizing without subsidies. And that's the area we've been working in. So we mapped this market a year and a half ago, and we came across 80,000 houses, less than 10 lakhs, sold in Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Indore. Anybody who wants that, very happy to show it. This is actual selling. This is not theory. And the reason it's possible is because today, even in cities like Pune, Ahmedabad, between 2,500 and 3,000 rupees a square foot, you can actually sell housing, including land. So a 300 square foot house can go for 9 lakhs. The problem is we have some constraints from the regulatory side. Today, approvals take a long time. If I buy a piece of land and it takes 3 years for me to get approvals, you know what that means. You also know if I've got to pay between 100 rupees a square foot and 1,000 rupees a square foot to get my approvals, who's paying for it? So I think the big thing here is 3 things. One is recognizing this is not a common problem. We have different segments who need to be treated differently. Secondly, we need to have some regulatory changes to facilitate this. And third thing is, let's give the power to the person who can make choice. So giving subsidies to developers does not work. It will not flow to the end customer. There should be subsidies. Everybody's not rich enough. But I'm saying the subsidy should go to the customer so they can actually have a choice of which developer they buy from. And the developer should give it at decent pricing to make profits. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. So I'm not at all trying to say developers should be greater than God and give it cheap, etc. Developers have to make a normal profit. But let's give the subsidy to the person who can use it most effectively.